Hi, everyone, and welcome to Canceling COVID, a real talk, real conversations, real solutions as we are in a pandemic right now, a global pandemic. And this is such an important conversation. A little bit frustrated right now. We've had so many technical difficulties. We've been trying to get this thing started since 1 o'clock. And, I accept all the blame because typically everything just falls in place, but it did not happen that way today. And I've got an amazing producer who just tolerates me. And, sometimes it's just like what gives, but we want to have this conversation. We've got really important guests that took time out of their valuable schedule to work with us. I want to say thank you to our partners and our sponsors, Mecklenburg County Public Health, mecnc.gov, that's mecnc.gov, as well as Groundwater Solutions. I'm not going to waste any time. There are growing concerns about our children, growing concerns about the Delta variant, growing concerns about the spike in numbers that we're seeing. And according to our North Carolina numbers, more children under 17 tested positive for COVID the first week of August than any other week since January 17th. Now, last week, more than 47,000 children tested positive in our state. That's more than double the number for June. And that's clearly on the mind of parents, as students, and teachers as we prepare for back to school. So, someone who's awfully busy and has taken time out of her schedule to join us, I'm talking about none other than our board chair, Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools, Elyse Dashew, is joining us to hold a quick conversation. So, Elyse, we're having some technical difficulties. You've been amazing. I appreciate you. Thank you for standing by. I'm going to move this along because I know you have other things to do as well. So, last school year was emotionally draining for everyone involved. There's been so much going on, so much good and bad, criticism and some praise, but we all kind of had to walk through this and figure it out. How are you guys preparing to send kids back to the classrooms now as far as this transition? What does that mean to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, this year was emotionally draining, and we just kind of had to keep on rolling with the punches. So I think maybe your technical difficulties today were kind of symbolic of that.
Yeah.
It certainly taught us. It taught me how precious in-person schooling is. I mean, I don't know that, like, I know a lot of kids who didn't appreciate it until it was not an option anymore, and so. I know we're thrilled to get our schools back open again, and at the same time, this Delta variant, these new numbers they're alarming. So here I thought we were going to be back, we were going to be out of the woods and getting back to normal, and it looks like we're still going to have to be very, very vigilant to keep everybody safe, but to keep that teaching and learning going.
Yeah, and it's so complex. And now people, I'll save that for how much concern are you about the increase in the COVID cases as our students come back? I mean, obviously, you mentioned the Delta variant. There are some people that are dismissive. I guess a heightened concern would be a good description for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. I am had zero doubt that we made the right decision to require masks. In fact, right after, I mean, that decision was highly recommended by the CDC, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the state health directors, and our county health director. We had 70 doctors. I had more than 70 doctors email me personally to urge for this, and they've never really rallied about something like that before with us doctors. They tend to be not all that political. So I do think masking is very, very important. Um, so we've just got to do everything we can to get this school year going
And to
and
take care of our kids.
and to take
And
care of our
kudos to
kids.
you for rising above that, all of the back and forth and the division, whatever the case may be. In this situation, we're doing what's right for our kids. And Charlotte Mecklenburg schools were just one of the few states, or one of the few districts in the state that required mandatory mask. And I really appreciate you all stepping up and saying, look, we're going to just ignore the noise. We're going with the experts. And the vote was nearly unanimous for the board.
Mhm.
You know, you had to have a really good feeling. You just said that. But you guys should certainly be proud, because in some areas, for leaders that didn't get the support, I heard it explained in one way. So parents, this is how you feel, and if there is a spread, then you are acknowledging and will be aware that your children will be home yet again. Did
Hmm.
you guys have to present that as well?
Well, yeah, that was actually a big part of the consideration, which is that what we've learned now from the health experts is that if there's an exposure at a school, but everyone's wearing masks, then the kids don't necessarily have to quarantine. If a child is exposed and has symptoms, they have to quarantine for sure. But um, last year we had situations where an entire class would have to quarantine, and the state legislature does not want us doing remote learning right now. So we just absolutely need to do everything we can to keep kids safe in school and not have to quarantine. And so, interestingly, a lot of the school boards that had around the state that had come out with making masks optional are now running into those mass quarantine situations, and they're reversing course. So more and more school boards are now changing their minds and making masks required. It's just been kind of interesting to watch that play out.
It's unfortunate that leadership allowed, and I'm not talking anyone in particular, but leadership has allowed more politics than ever. We know it's in everything, but more than ever to lead people to just ignore, just like common sense or what's right in front of you. Even though you see it, you still might turn around and say, well, that's not true, or I don't trust that. And again, not digging into the weeds. I respect people for their decisions, but the decision when it impacts my life and others around you, if we could just get back to that neighborly love, caring for one another is what we've
Mhm.
gotten so far away from. So the school board Facebook page has got several comments from parents who believe they should have the final say on masks. Now, what
Mhm.
would you say to them on that? And maybe I just kind of answered that question, right?
Well, I think personal choice is, for many Americans, it's a deeply held value. It's almost like that's how they define what it means to be American. And, I'm an independent thinker myself. I like to do my own research and make my own decisions and not have anyone tell me what to do for my family. But also, I am aware that my decisions impact other people, and I don't want to make other people sick. I mean, it's as simple as that. A friend of mine was talking the other day about, driving at night without the headlights on. You could say, well, that's my personal choice to drive without the headlights on. But you know what? If someone crashes into me or I crash into them and I cause an accident, that's not okay. That's a responsibility too, is to do right by each other.
So let's talk about, we've got the mask in place. What are some of the other safety protocols?
Oh, so we are urging vaccines. We'll watch for lots of vaccine clinics at our schools. Um, Let me see, I've got my list here. We've, um, First of all, there are some parents that are asking, well, can we get an exemption to not have to wear masks? You do need a medical note this year. You're going to need a note from your doctor. There are some very narrow, specific reasons where kids might need an exemption, but that's been tightened up. A lot of work on our ventilation systems in our schools. Um, every school is figuring out the best way to handle lunch to make that safe, because every cafeteria is configured differently. So those plans are being worked out. We have got massive amounts of PPE in our warehouses, and all the schools should be fully stocked with their initial batch. And then there's like a PPE contact at every school, and they're responsible for letting the warehouse know when they need to be replenished. There's been pretty intensive cleaning going on all summer, including in we've got like, I think it's 1,200 trailers, mobile classrooms in the district. It's all getting deeply cleaned. Lots of work on the HVAC systems. People have been busy.
So you mentioned, I want to wrap things up. I know you've got another call to hop on. The ventilation system, that seems to be a big sticking point with a lot of people. Can you
Yeah.
speak or elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, part of it is because it's so confusing. Every time, like, we bring it up at a school board member and we bring out the experts to kind of explain what they've done and how it works, it's like you have to have a PhD in physics to to follow it all.
Right.
Um, but no, we do have. 39, well, first of all, it's just, some of it is simple as cracking open a window and having good, high quality HVAC systems. But we have 39 schools that are old enough that, they were real concerns. And so those have been prioritized, and we've been installing this technology called needlepoint bipolar ionization. It's very expensive. We're using our COVID relief funds for this, and we're prioritizing those 39 older schools first. 22 of those have been completely installed. Um, there are others that they're kind of awaiting on their inspections. Most of our schools are up and running and ready, with all the extra bells and whistles. And by the time we get to October, they should all be up and ready.
So real
So
quick, I know there's still a chance for exposure and the students that have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. What does that look like for them?
Um, it's for the kids that have to be quarantined. We're gonna have to send work home for them, and we have to think about staff being quarantined too. So we've got to be prepared for that, and we need a really good substitute pool.
And congratulations, we're seeing a lot of positive feedback for Camp CMS. So I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you oh so much. You're always there when we call on you. Thank you for being a part of just being receptive to conversation out in the community. Anything in closing that you would like to share?
Yeah, if I could just share the news about our next vaccine clinic. It's going to be at the Education Center, which is at 4221 Stuart Andrew Boulevard on August 17th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can just walk up. It's for kids 12 and up and adults. And so we just really want to make it as easy as possible for people to get vaccinated. And there will be many, many vaccine clinics at our schools throughout the year, but that's the next one coming up. And so just wanted to share that. Thank you for all that you do to share good information, Tanya.
And thank you, Ms. Dashew. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to share with us. So, guys, you see the leaders are working really hard, trying whatever they can to make this come together. And it's not an easy task. And if you hear some feedback, it's because we're trying to continue to work through all that we're doing. Let's talk about South Carolina, where their Department of Health, their people that handle their public health, it's called DHAC, reports 2,000 new COVID cases this week. 85 of those are schools. Governor or people that are in schools. Governor McMaster says for his state, masks in schools will continue to be optional, and a future lockdown is out of the question. I don't think they ever locked down, so I'm not really sure why that statement was even needed. But he is pushing for vaccinations, which is a positive thing. But be sure to drop your questions and comments in the chat if you get a chance. Right now, we're just trying to make sure we get you the information. We're going to shift gears and move to our next topic, which is COVID and the housing market. And I met this beautiful lady who is she's actually from New York, but we made her a Southern belle now, and she lives, works, and really loves Mecklenburg County. Welcoming my guest who's been very patient with me. I've just had like a whirlwind of the last 3 weeks since I met her. I guess about a month ago, a month or so. But she a beautiful smile and works really hard in real estate. I'm talking about Terry Hansley. She's broker in charge for the Terry Hansley Realty Group. And I want to say, first of all, good afternoon and thank you for your patience and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for having me.
Absolutely. So now the COVID spike, one of the things when we were talking, just talking about everything happening around housing, and we know as a part of children, the homeless population in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools and in our school system, it's tough for children to learn and to concentrate if they're worried about housing. So let's start with the eviction rate. The moratorium was recently extended. We can't ignore, though, that landlords, especially those renting single family homes, are struggling. Do you see more rental properties going for sale, especially now that it's a seller's market?
You see a little bit of a spike because they're trying to kind of get out of that industry because of the moratorium. But for the most part, investors, that's what they do, right? It's risky. They take their chances, and with some of the programs that are being put in place for them, if their tenants and collaboratively with them, um, go out and fill out the necessary forms, they can get their rents paid. So the investors, like I said, they're used to investing, and they take some hits here and they get some pluses there. So so far it's been kind of stable.
So, Terry, how would you say some home prices have changed during COVID, especially how the competition has changed? Because the conversation you and I had was kind of about, how this profession you've done for years and you've loved for so many years has really, really changed.
Oh yeah, it's changed quite a bit, and a lot of it is just over time. We have an amazing city and surrounding areas where people want to live. They're coming from a lot of the dense population where they were closer, living closer together, and now they kind of want to, because of COVID, kind of spread out a little bit. So they moved to our area, and you have great jobs here. You have low inventory, unfortunately, and a great demand, so that drives the prices up. So, with that being said, it's just kind of how it is in Charlotte. It's really, unfortunately, have taken away the affordable housing, so we don't have a lot of affordable housing right now. And the way things are looking, it doesn't seem to be changing because we have more of these great companies coming into our area. They're bringing lots of really good jobs and lots of people, and we don't have enough inventory, and that helps drive the pricing up.
So, if I'm hearing you correctly, we're going to talk about pricing more people out of the city of Charlotte. Historically, there's always been an affordable housing issue, and I think I said to you at some point this has to crash. That's not necessarily true, huh?
No. I mean, I don't see, I mean, just based on what we're seeing in the market, um, there's no real need because there is jobs. Our economy is going well, and people are finding and maintaining their good jobs, and there's just no need to bring the pricing down. And of course, you have the supplies. With new construction, all of that is happening as well. Those prices are being driven up, and that causes the builders to drive up their pricing. So it's just there's just I don't see where that's going to change.
Wow, it's kind of unfortunate. And what is the biggest complaint or concern that you've heard from buyers right now?
Well, a lot of my buyers are feeling some of that. Unfortunately, we can't find a house. We're working really hard. Have our families, and we're doing the very best that we can. And before it was the American dream. You work hard, you can find a home, and you can move in and raise your family and have great memories. Well, in these cases, because pricing is going up, not necessarily matching the income, and so therefore they're finding themselves priced out of the market. Those that are trying to stay in, we have everybody looking at the same house. We have multiple offer situations. You have to increase your offer. So a lot of times you're right at your budget. And so you have all of these other people vying for the same home. You have due diligence money being put into the pot. And so it's becoming very risky as well. So in those cases, a lot of my buyers are just like, this is getting to be too much. And some of them have to bow out gracefully because they can't compete.
And it's interesting you shared that. I saw on Next Door, and I was sharing with my husband. I don't think I had a chance to share the story with you. A lady posted, she's a mom, that her daughter was trying to move here with her family. And she asked that anyone, if they had their house on the market, to please consider the American dream, and that these homes are for families trying to build that dream and try and avoid these investment groups and people that are just coming in here, purchasing these homes with no loyalty or any
Right.
commitment to the community. And I saw several people who posted in response and said, I plan to do that, or I have done that. We had plenty of offers on our home, but we looked for families who really wanted to move to the area. Because in the end, if you got investors and people, you do what you do, it's capitalism. But as people are transitioning in and out with no commitment to the community, that really affects, I would think, the value of your community and your homes as well.
Oh, absolutely. I started in this business back in 2005 and 6, and I started in new construction where I was a sales rep that sat in the community. And it was very important for me to build that community of families. And when we would have investors come in and want to buy three and four houses, it was like, how do we say no and be in compliance and be, protecting my license by not discriminating. But at the same time, it was that very thought of, when we bring in a lot of investors, they turn them into rental properties. And as you know, it becomes a cycle of people coming in and out. They don't have the same value to the property, they don't take care of it the same. It's just a whole lot of things that could happen when you start to turn a community of homeowners into a community of renters, and so, or investors. So we do try very hard to have conversations with listing agents and say, hey, I have a family here, a single mom, trying to raise their children. But you have to be careful there because we got fair housing issues. So you don't want to start putting certain things out there, and then the seller starts to, have a whole nother issue because they may feel like, okay, if I don't choose this person, they may think I didn't choose them because they are, a family of children, and so on and so forth. So it's a slippery slope, and we try to do the best we can to sustain our communities.
Well, COVID has disrupted everything and it continues. And for all of us that continue to survive, we just need to understand, of course, stay prayed up, but just continue to work through this. There is no easy solution
Yeah.
from anything that we are dealing with. As we wrap things up again, THansley and this beautiful young lady, if you're looking, I'm sure she will share her information. We weren't able to get any of the information up on screen because I've got our producer. She's busy trying to help maneuver to keep the show going. But Terry, anything else that you would like to share? And please give out your information.
If you're looking to buy or sell here at Hansley Realty, we would love to help you with that process and on that home ownership journey. You can reach us on all the social media, which is at hansleyrealty.com. And you can give us a call at 704-502-0241. And if you are in the market to buy or sell, don't sit on the sidelines and wait. If you need a place for your family and you need to make a transition, now is the time.
Great, great stuff. Thank you again for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you for
All right,
having me.
enjoy the rest of your day. And she's been super patient. I feel like I owe her flowers or lunch or dinner or something because she has really stood by, truly committed to helping me to get her on and share her story. So, guys, it's been great chatting with you today. For those of you that hung in there with us as we got on the air, I just would like to say, as always, life's challenges make you better, not bitter. Quite a few challenges, but we're going to get better and continue to grow from this. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back on Friday with more of Canceling COVID. Thank you again to Mecklenburg County Public Health, mecnc.gov, mecnc.gov, and Groundwater Solutions. Now, Dr. Black will be with us on Friday also. And we've got another special treat on Friday, a representative from Legal Aid that's going to share information about evictions and hopefully you'll share the word for people that need that information as well. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support of Canceling COVID. Have a great Wednesday. Try to stay cool and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.